So I recorded a vocal sample today and I flipped it in two different loops. The first one's like hyper pop, the second one is melodic. It's not pain, but it's close enough. So this is the sample that I recorded.
It's a long journey trying to love you. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. How could you remember me enough to call me when you're in trouble?
It's not the cleanest in the world, but when you put it together with the sample, it sounds really good. I don't claim to be the best singer in the world. I'm able to make it sound alright. So I'm gonna break down the process of how you can do the same thing that I do. Because having things like guitars, vocals, live instruments, anything of that nature in your samples can really help you stand out. So that's one of the things that I've been working on, is being able to put vocals in my samples, because a lot of people don't have those. So here's the first sample.
It's a long journey trying to love you. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. How could you remember me enough to call me when you're in trouble? It's a long journey trying to love you. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. How could you remember me enough to call me when you're in trouble?
For this first sample, I tested Vibo and I told him I wanted some acoustic guitar stuff. This is one of the ones that he sent me. So what I did was I separated the stems and then pitched it up by one semitone. Then I added some shaper box. So I put a low pass filter and some distortion and reverse effect here. And then I also put a high pass to cut out the bass. I did an automation for the high pass EQ so that this bass can play when it needs to, because I also have this synth bass which I added, so they kind of alternate. This is the pattern that I created for the synth bass. This is what really gave it like that hyper pop feel. And I was able to create my own bass line because I took out the low end. So this doesn't really have a bass line yet. I could really build whatever I wanted. And this is the bass preset that I used. Next thing I added was I added this key preset from the Mellotron V. And this is a pretty standard hyperpop pattern. I wanted to make it sound more digital, so I went into Serum Effects and I put on Hyper Dimension. I don't know exactly what it does, but it makes it sound like more spacey, like wider. And in the distortion, I used the downsample preset to make it sound bit crushed. And the bit crush was a little bit harsh, so I turned on this EQ as well. Here's what it sounds like with the effects. Next sound that I added, Modular V3. I went into like I think it's the crazy section. So I went into the crazy section of Modular V3. I got this preset called Broken Boy, and it's kind of just like a distortion. Oh, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called feedback. This is what it sounds like. I thought that was a cool like texture layer. I went into the channel pitch right here and I put it down 2 semitones, so it has like a slide right here. Here's what we have with those sounds on top of the guitar. Here's what those sound like on top of the guitar. Next, I got this Twisted Nerve bell preset from the Mellotron, and I made this pattern. So I added Supermassive first. Give it some reverb. Then I added a Portal preset from Loop Legend. This Naruto preset from his Evolution Bank is probably my favorite Portal preset. I use that all the time. And then I got another preset from Loop Legend, which is like a low pass kind of filter. So I rendered that sound out and it had a bunch of feedback at the end. I took the feedback and I repeated it for this section. And so that's kind of like a background texture for the rest of it. the second section, I added this bass stem back in. For the final part of the loop, this is what y'all been waiting on. I got the vocals. All right, so I got the raw vocals right here. Kind of just saying at my normal speaking tone because I knew I was going to pitch it up later. How about you remember me enough to call me when you're in trouble? Nothing crazy. I'd actually consider this one of my better vocal takes out of all the samples that I did. After that, I pitched it up an octave. So here's that.
How about you remember me enough to?
But it sounds like a little bit too grainy, so I like to put it on E3 mono. I just think it sounds better. How about you remember me enough to call me when you're in trouble? I don't even know what it does. I think it plays with like the timbre of it. Next thing, auto-tune. Don't turn up the retune speed that much unless you're trying to sound like Can. I turn up the tracking slightly just because I sang some notes that were off. How about you remember me enough to call me when you're in trouble? That like retunes it a little bit. And if you want a more specific way to auto-tune your stuff, you can right click here and you can edit in pitch corrector and it'll pull up new tone. And inside of new tone, you can drag notes wherever you want them to go. The variation is the pitch variation. Center is how centered you want them to be on one of the 12 notes. And then transitions is going between notes, how much you want that to vary. I did a little bit of new toning on there. Next effect was this EQ, just to take out the low end from my mic and the high end from my mic. Next I added a chorus preset from Valhalla Ubermod. How about you remember me enough to call me when you're in trouble? And I added a bit of compressor. How about you remember me enough to call me when you're in trouble? Forgot to mention, I took this part and I layered it with a section that's pitched down 7 semitones. And I took this section and I put it up an octave. Call me when you're in trouble. It's like a layer effect. And then I have another take that I pitched up a bunch as well. So here's the full sample what I have right now. After all of that, I opened up Sound Shifter Pitch Stereo and I pitched it up 6 semitones. And this is what really made the final sample feel how it feels. It just gave it something different. So for this second sample, I used a bunch of the stems from the last loop. I stretched them to make them halftime and then turned the tempo up a bunch so it's more of like a trap tempo instead of the last one, which is either really fast or really slow depending on how you do the drums. It's there's light at the end of the tunnel. How about you remember me enough to call me when you're in trouble? This right here is the vocal sample, but I reversed it and pitched it up an octave. I also added Stomp Board, which is a guitar amp. This added a bunch of distortion, and I also added some reverb. So after I exported that, I chopped it up. The next thing I did was I added this piano pattern, and how I made it was I figured out what root notes I wanted first. D sharp, D, and G. I put those bass notes down here and created a pattern on top of that. So this is the original pattern that I had. And then I added this little run on top. And then I turned on our compressor stereo and some archetype Corey Wong. My computer doesn't like when I have Corey Wong on, so I'm gonna turn it off because I exported it. I made it unique and then pitched it down an octave. I turned off Valhalla Supermassive. In the sound effects presets, I went to Nebulae, Planetarium. This is one of my favorite presets for like background sounds. Copy that over again and pitch it up an octave. So these two sounds make up like the background pads. And now, with just those few things added, we got a brand new sample.
It's a long journey to love you. There's light at the end of the tunnel. How could you remember me enough to call me when you're in trouble?
Alright, so that's all I got for today. I hope you guys got something out of this. Maybe you can start to record your own vocals after watching this. I hope this inspires some people, because even somebody with as mediocre of a voice as me can do this and make good samples. If you're interested in getting any of my sounds, that link will be in the description, and I'm gonna also leave a link to both of these loops in the description as well, so you can use them in your own beats. And that's all I got, man. I'll see you on the next one.
It's a long journey to love you. There's light at the end of the tunnel.